Welcome to No Flipping Excuses with Jason Lucchese. Jason Lucchese was the guy voted least likely to succeed by his high school peers. Today, Jason's a real estate flipping ninja Jedi Knight assassin who's taken his drive, street smarts, and never give up attitude and converted them into a real estate flipping business and freedom-based lifestyle. After years of being chained to a cubicle in the mortgage business, watching his coworkers go bust, customers go bankrupt, and his hairline go bye-bye, Jason decided to make a change and blaze his trail to the flipping promised land. Each episode, Jason shares real-life real estate case studies, tips on how to find, finance, and flip deals, and mindset tactics he uses every day as a real estate investor, mentor, and leader so you can free yourself from the shackles of corporate America, fire your boss, and live the life you've always dreamed of, right flipping now. Here to share the truth about flipping houses, finding sellers, delivering buyers, real estate investing without the reality show hype, and all-around general business badassery. Your host, Krav Maga enthusiast, husband, and father of three, Jason Lucchese.
Hey there, what's going on? It's Jason Lucchese, and welcome back for another exciting edition of the No Flipping Excuses Show. Now, if you've been following us for a while now, we've been diving into some great content here, and today is going to also be a great show. What I highly encourage you to do so you get a first notification of all of our brand new shows, subscribe to this podcast. It is amazing information, and we are just getting started. So make sure you subscribe, make sure you leave us a review, and if you could, leave us a 5-star review. That would be amazing of you to do, but only if you feel like we deserve it. So on today's show, we're going to be covering what I like to call the one call close. And I'm also accompanied by my good friend, the CNO of our company. If you're not familiar with that, he's the Chief Ninja Officer, Mr. Michael Bruthauer, also known as Mike the Marine.
And the myth.
And the myth.
Okay, don't forget that.
And the samurai.
I've earned these. Okay, I've earned these titles. How you doing?
Good, man. Good. I'm excited to be doing another podcast episode here. And we're going to be talking about something that I think a lot of people really are not just curious about, but they really want to start implementing, because a lot of folks are really having a tough time with the phone.
Yeah, the phone seems to be the big scare for everybody. Getting on the phone, and even I've heard all the time. I know people are going to tell me no, and I think I heard it from you, and I don't know if it's something you made up or something you've heard, but it was you have to get comfortable being uncomfortable. And then I remember you had kind of told me, like, you need to close them on the phone. You need to get that contract signed right away, and once you start approaching it like that, like in the mindset, like, I don't want to call this person back just to get the contract signed, I need to get it signed right away. Then you start seeing a little bit different results.
Yeah, no, that's absolutely true. And I think what it boils down to, it's not like what's the latest, greatest, like tip, trick or hack. It's really about just executing and picking up the phone and not being afraid of if the person says no, because let's face it, it's not like a face-to-face, it's over the phone. So it's really not that big of a deal. And I've been doing sales now for quite a long time. My career in sales really started off as soon as I graduated high school. I started selling Cutco knives, and that kind of took off from there. I remember so many people doubted that I would ever be able to do it. And, because it's knives, right, Mike? It's like, what do you do when somebody comes and does a knife presentation at your house?
No, I remember you did it at my parents' house. I think you were doing it more for practice than anything at my parents' house. But then you just asked me, and you did it like I don't know, such a disarming way. You're like, hey, do you have anybody else I can practice with? And we just gave you all my family members. I know you got some sales out of that. I know you got a lot of practice out of it. But yeah, it was weird. I'm like, oh, he's selling knives. That's new.
No, and I think that's what it really boils down to, is the practice. If you don't practice, you're not going to master your craft. And I remember the first few presentations was with like family or friends. I didn't really have a lot of family that I knew that was probably going to buy. So it was just a really great way for me to practice. And I remember I would have my arm up displaying the knives, and I would have right behind my arm the actual script. And I scripted the whole thing. And then I think after like the 5th or 6th, practice run, even though I was selling, I remember Mike's parents, I think they bought like a pizza cutter or something.
Yeah, they still have it, believe it or not.
Yeah, those things are super reliable. I still have all of them from when I used to sell them. They're phenomenal, actually. But the thing was, I think like within that period of time I was with them, it was 45 days, and I ended up selling like $25,000 in knives. And it was my first taste at sales, and also what you put in is what you get out. And that was like crazy. Like I got into the comma club for the first time, and I was able to surpass like making 5 figures within a short period of time. I was hooked, and things kind of took off from there. And that's what ended up getting me into things. But I'll tell you what, I was so nervous to get that going. And it really just boils down to, like Mike just said, get comfortable being uncomfortable, because that's the only way that you're going to make it happen. I could tell you right now that every single individual out there has the power to do this. You can absolutely and truly be great at doing it. You just have to get out there and do it. And we'll go over some role playing here in just a minute of, some of the things that, I would recommend for the one call close, but it's absolutely, necessary. I learned it at that young age, and I also really started implementing it too when I got into the mortgage business. I absolutely needed that because I was competing for, that business. And the one thing that you'll also learn too is I never sell benefits to people. And most people end up selling benefits, and they don't do what I like to call is listening. That's one of the best things that I do as, an individual in sales is I listen. I listen to what, the individual's problem is by asking questions and then shutting my mouth. I listen to them, I write it down, and then I kind of talk it through with them. Like, well, how does that make you feel? Then we start getting into certain emotions so that they understand, yeah, that really makes me feel like crap. I want that solved. And then once you get to the point of becoming a problem solver instead of an individual pitching benefits and selling benefits, you'll see a dramatic, increase. And you'll also see a dramatic difference within your entire business. Wouldn't you agree, Mike?
Yeah, it actually makes it easier for you to be on the phones too, because when you approach it like, okay, I'm going to solve this person's problem, you're not even thinking about selling them anything. You're just thinking about helping them.
Yeah, no, that's true. And I've talked to several individuals that have wanted to do like a consultation over the phone, and it wasn't the right fit, but I was able to still help them in a way because not every single time I'm going to pick up the phone and it's going to be a good fit for me to do something with somebody. But the point is, the benefits, like if you're trying to sell somebody, hey, I'm going to be able to help you do this. And the person's thinking in their head, like, that doesn't matter to me. Why would I care about that? If you're doing that, then you're not going to see the results that you want. So what I want to tell you is what we're going to be discussing on this particular episode is really, what does a one call close mean? Like what does that actually mean? Why does getting the one call close, why is that so important? Why would that be so important? And, some of the challenges that you might face, and the other thing too is how the one call close will get you making $10,000 a month in closed transactions. It might be more, but if you could imagine this, you make the phone calls, and Mike, how many phone calls would you say are being made as of right now with the team? Like on a daily basis, like 100, 200?
At least 100. It's kind of like just, you don't count, you just go. Yeah. But yeah, it's got to be at least 100 calls.
Yeah. And, if you're doing that, then you're going to start seeing the results that you want. And it's just all about, making good quality calls to people that are going to be there to do this with you. So stay tuned to that, because we're going to have much, much more to cover here. And I'm extremely excited for this, because this is something, Mike, that we've been listening. We've been listening to folks, and this is something that you want. This is something that you want to be in the know in, and you want to be able to have a pulse on what is working when it comes to talking to sellers over the phone. So we're going to get to that here in just a little bit. So stay tuned, stay in your seat. Here we come in just a minute. Have you been struggling to close your first real estate deal? I hear this all the time, and you're not the only person in the not having closed your first deal boat. I was there, and the feeling is horrible. I can tell you on page 103 of my book, Right Flipping Now, I address how you can easily overcome closing your first deal quickly and easily without using any of your own money or credit. My first deal closed when I was on vacation. I made $26,000. You can do the same thing. Grab a copy of my book at getmyflippingbook.com, and you can get your first deal closed for massive profits. I have copies of my book available at getmyflippingbook.com, and you can have a step-by-step plan for making profits on your first deal, closing within the next 30 to 60 days. Go to getmyflippingbook.com. That's getmyflippingbook.com. www.getmyflippingbook.com. Hey, welcome back. It's Jason Lucchese, and I'm ready, if you're ready, to dive into what I like to call the one call close. Let's discuss this. Let's dive in and really challenge ourselves to really make sure that we know what a one call close is. So without further ado, I'm going to hop in and really discuss this with you. The one call close really just means a couple different things. And before I hop in, this could either mean you have either seen the property that you're wanting to get, or maybe it might be sight unseen. Either way, this applies to everything, the one call close. So this is where you are talking to a seller, an owner of record on the phone, and you're finding out all their wants and needs, and you're becoming a problem solver. And you're going to be, giving basically a prescription to them to completely solve their problems. And when you do that, is you're giving the seller on the phone an offer like they can't refuse, like a mafia person would say, a mobster. But they obviously can say no. So I'm joking there. But you're basically, you're giving them an offer, and they're either saying yes or no. And the one call close comes into play as this is your first time talking to them, and they say yes. Now, typically, if we're doing this sight unseen, we're doing something in a way that allows us to take a look, make sure the comps are good on the property. We're going into Zillow and just doing a quick Zestimate. And yes, I know Zestimate's not, 100% accurate. It's not even 90 or 80% accurate, but I want to get a general feel. And I could also get a gauge of what the tax history states from an assessment value. And yes, the assessed value isn't accurate either. But again, I just want to get a general feel for it. So like when the seller does eventually state how much they want, I'll be able to be somewhat in the ballpark of value wise. And that's really kind of all it boils down to at that point, is just, being able to get to that particular scenario to where I know exactly where I'm at. And, a couple of things, and Mike and I, what we can do is we can do a quick role play to where we can kind of give you an idea of what this really looks like and what it entails. So I'm going to obviously be the investor. Mike's going to be the seller here, and we'll just do a quick role play. Again, this is going to be an example that you can use. We do have some freebies. If you're looking at this as a video, or if you're on iTunes listening to this, you could go to our website at noflippingexcuses.com. And we'll have links for you to where you could pick up scripts. You could listen to real live phone calls, which are I've done a lot of them. I think we put out like almost 2 hours of content of me making calls.
Oh, at least there are so many, examples that you have available of live calls with you calling real people.
Yeah.
And going through all the objections.
Yeah. I don't see a whole lot of other individuals doing that, especially, individuals that have podcasts. I know there are some, but it's very few in between. We do practice what we preach here, and we're not just having some show and giving you some fluff. This is stuff that's actually working. It's working. So let's do this. I'll do the good old bring, and Mike will be the seller here. All right, so let me do the special noise. Bring.
Hello.
Hey, how's it going? My name's Jason. I was giving you a call about your property at 123 Main Street.
Oh, okay. What about it?
Yeah, I'm an investor, and I was just wanting to give you a call because we're purchasing properties in and around that neighborhood, and I wanted to see if you were interested in selling.
Maybe.
Okay, cool. Well, I don't have a whole lot of information on the property. I want to make sure it meets our criteria because we're an investment company, and we want to make sure that we're buying properties that meet our criteria. Do you just have a quick second to tell me a little bit about the property?
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, great. Could we start off with like how many bedrooms and how many bathrooms does it have?
Well, it's a 3-bedroom, 2-bath.
Okay, perfect. And is this a property that you currently live in, or is it something that's been vacant or you're renting?
Right now it's an empty property. It was given to me by my parents. It's just, well, I'm gonna say given to me. It's been passed down to me.
Oh, okay. So you've had the property. It's been vacant for how long?
Probably about 6 months. It, I don't really know what to do with it right now, so I'm still working on that.
Okay, gotcha. And I know this, not everybody knows this, but I just want to see if you have like a rough estimate. Do you know like the square footage by chance?
It's 1,050 square feet.
Oh, is it? Okay, great. And now, does the property have a basement, or is this on a slab?
It's on a slab.
Okay, perfect. And if you had to like kind of walk me through the property, like say we're going through the front door right now, could you kind of describe to me like how the property like is from an interior standpoint? We've seen it from the exterior, but we don't know what it looks like on the inside.
Sure. Yeah. It needs a little bit of work. I would say just a little, TLC. You walk in the front door, you need to replace the carpet. It's not that it's bad. It's just old. My parents had it and I haven't changed it and I don't know how long. The light fixtures, I might update them a little bit. The house was built in the early 60s, so they're a little bit outdated. So a little bit of updating there. If you walk into the living room, there's a hole in the floor. There was a leak in the roof and water kind of dripped down all the way to the floor, and you can kind of see the crawl space below. That's in the living room. So, it's not a big thing. It's just a little tiny thing. The hole in the roof and everything was fixed up, but right now it's still got that hole in the floor,
Okay. And is this something that's causing concern to you? Like, if the property could be potentially a hazard?
It's been a little bit of a headache. Like I said, it had that hole in the roof that I had to fix before it got any worse. And I just haven't gotten around to fixing the floor yet. I work, and I don't have a lot of time to work on the property. Everything I'm doing myself.
So is this something right now, like, do you want to do those repairs? Do you want to be able to, put money into the property? Like what are you looking to do with those repairs?
Well, if the price is right, I would sell it. But I don't want to do the repairs, but I will if I have to.
Okay. No, that sounds fair. And I appreciate that. So right now the property, and trust me, I know my parents kept the property, that they're in, still like the same, and they haven't really done a bunch of updates to it. So I completely understand where you're coming from on that. So the property really needs to be updated to like what's currently like, in trend right now.
Yeah, the whole house is, it's got a really late 60s feel. I mean, it's obvious.
Okay.
It's not bad. It's just old.
Okay. Gotcha. And before we get any further, I totally forgot to ask you this. What's your name, by the way?
Oh, my name is Mike.
Okay, cool, Mike. And one of the things, is this the best number that I could reach you on, or do you have like a cell phone or another number?
Actually, if you can call me, this is actually my house phone and I'm not home a lot. So if you can call me at 555-1234, that'd be a lot better.
Okay, perfect. No, I've got that down here. So 555-1234. Do you have an email I can use as well?
Yeah, mike@email.com. That's fine.
Okay, so mike@email.com. Okay, perfect. So let me ask you this. Now, I know you said this was something that was given to you by your parents. Is this like something right now that has like a mortgage on it, or is the house owned free and clear?
It's paid off. There's no mortgage or liens on it.
Okay. Now, from a standpoint of the property that you have, is this something that you're like upkeep wise on the exterior? Are you keeping up with like the lawn and all that kind of stuff?
Yeah, I live right down the road, so I mow the lawn once a week. I mean, I do my best to keep it up. When I have time.
Okay. And are the taxes current right now?
Yes.
Okay. And is that something too, like would help you out dramatically if we could, help you stop paying those taxes?
Well, yeah, that would that would really help.
Okay. What are the taxes like? What's the amount that you pay annually?
Annually, roughly 1,000.
Okay. And is there anything else that you have to pay for on the property? Like, is there a homeowners association or anything else that you have to pay for on like a monthly or yearly basis?
No, there's no homeowners association or anything. It's just the taxes. That's it.
Okay. And the insurance on the property, you probably don't want to keep having to pay for that, right?
Not if I don't have anybody living in there. It just costs me money right now.
Okay. No, I completely understand. Now, if we were able to make you like a fair offer and can close quickly for you, have you kind of thought about like what you would potentially want to sell the property for?
I looked online and I have what I think I should get for it.
Okay. And what was that number?
I would like to get 75,000.
Okay. So $75,000. And have you come up with like an estimate for like what the repairs would be to fix the holes and then get the property updated to make it worth more?
No, like I said, I've been doing everything myself, so I haven't gotten any, estimations on anything.
Okay. So just from kind of hearing what is up with the property right now, it sounds like a phenomenal property that we would like to get involved with, and we could come in, we could help you with helping you not having to pay taxes anymore. The repairs are going to be done by us, so we'll buy the property as is, because those repairs, from what it sounds like, with holes and potentially, with the rain coming in and whatnot, mold could potentially appear. I don't think there's any right now, from what you've told me. So we'll take care of those repairs, and that's going to be a few $1,000s to fix up. We're also going to do the updates, so you're not going to have to pay for the updates at all. That's going to be a huge money saver for you too. So if you ever wanted to either sell it or rent it, you're not going to have to worry about that. So we're going to take care of that for you too. And then you being able to mow the lawn, you're not going to have to do that anymore as well. So we could absolutely take this property off your hands. Is $75,000 the absolute lowest that you would be willing to go if we could help take care of all of that for you?
Well, I guess if you were just going to take it, I could probably work with you a little bit.
Okay. If you were able to work with us, we were able to do all the repairs, fix the holes that are in the house. The taxes are taken care of. You don't have to pay homeowners insurance anymore. You don't have to mow the lawn anymore. It's just 100% taken care of. What would you be able to work with us on?
I could probably come down another 10 grand, 65.
Okay. No, that sounds great. So this is what I wanted to try and find out from you. So 65 would be the lowest that you could come in at. If we were able to make an all cash offer to you, buy the property as is, we're not going to ask for an inspection, because sometimes those inspections can reveal some things that you may not even be aware of, and that might drive the price down. So we'll completely waive that. If we can do that and we could close, let's just say within the next few days, assuming that you want to obviously close quickly here, which it sounds like you do, would you be able to come down to about 55?
55,000?
Yeah.
Possibly. I think I could make that work.
Well, the other thing too that I want to make sure that you're aware of is we'll take care of all the closing costs too on our side.
Oh, okay. So 55 is what I'm going to be getting.
Yeah, you would receive $55,000. We'll take care of all the closing costs. All the taxes too will be paid by us at closing. So after that, you'll receive the check from the title company, and you'll be good to go.
Yeah. Yeah. Actually, I think I could work with that. That sounds fair.
Okay, great. So this is what I'm going to do. I've got your email address. Would it be? Are you in front of a computer by chance?
No, but I can be.
Okay, so this is what I'm going to do. As we're talking right here, I'm putting together a purchase and sales agreement. And what I'll do is I'll sign it and send it over to you. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to put down a $500 earnest money deposit to show you that I'm serious. Does that sound fair to you?
Yeah. Yeah. I'm sorry. What did you say your name was again?
My name is Jason.
Jason. Okay. Yeah, Jason. You said $500 earnest, and you're gonna send it to me right now.
Yeah, I'm going to send it to you right now, and it's going to be a electronic signature. So we'll both have a purchase and sales agreement. We don't need to worry about printing anything off. You could have a copy. I'll have a copy, and then we'll be able to be good to go from there. I'll put down that we'll close within the next 14 days. And again, we don't need to do an inspection on the property, but I do have a couple partners that I do want to have come over and look at the property. Would that be okay?
To come look at it? Yeah, that'd be fine.
Okay, perfect. We just want to make sure that we're looking at the interior of the property and double checking the exterior as well.
Okay. Yeah.
So I'll send this over to you right now. Let's why don't we take care of it while we're on the phone right now? So just in case you have questions, I could take care of them for you right now. So I'm hitting send right now to you. Let me know when you receive that.
Okay. So I received it. I've looked through it. Okay. I got it. All right. All right. I got the document, Jason.
Okay, great. So all you need to do is click sign with your digital signature, and then it'll automatically give you a copy and then me a copy. And then what I'll do is within the purchase and sales agreement, you'll receive the earnest money deposit within the next 3 business days.
Okay, great. Here, let me send it back real quick then.
Okay, great. I see that it's coming through, Mike. Awesome. We're going to go ahead and get you taken care of. And if you have any questions, just let me know. But I'm going to give you a call tomorrow so we can put a lockbox on the door and put the keys in there so myself and my business partners could come through and just take some pictures and all that good stuff.
Okay. Yeah. If you want to go ahead and give me a call ahead of time so I can make sure that I'm there, I'd like to, just make sure I'm actually just 5 houses down. If you want to go to house 1515, just knock on the door. I can definitely help you out.
All right. Sounds good. Well, hey, I look forward to doing business with you. And if you have any other questions, this is the number to call me on, and you've got my email address. But yeah, thanks again. And I look forward to doing business with you.
Yeah. Thank you, Jason.
All right. Take care.
Bye.
So that's the one call close. Now, is it going to happen like that every single time? Probably not.
I tried to throw a mixture of everything because you're going to get a little bit of resistance sometimes, and you're not going to get some resistance other times. I mean, other times they're going to be very ready to sell, and sometimes they're going to, have a little bit of reservation, and you might have to get around it. So if Jason had said, is this something you're looking to sell? And I had said, not really, right. He would have followed up with,
if you said,
not really. If you had said, hey, is this something you're looking to sell? I'd not really.
Right. I still would have went through and asked all of the questions that I did.
Absolutely. Because that not really could turn into an absolutely, or yeah, maybe, because when they say not really, I mean, when they start talking to you, they're interested. They want to know. And sometimes Jason, they're going to ask you right away, and he knows, what's your offer? That'll be the very first answer, or very first response. What's your offer, Jason?
Yeah. And we're going to be doing that here in just a second, overcoming objections, because Mike hears a lot of them. I hear a lot of them. And we're going to be doing that here in just a second, where we're discussing more of overcoming the objections. So stay tuned, because what we have coming up here is overcoming the challenges. What happens if they have a price in mind? Like we just did, Mike had a price in mind, and you have to do some things to really not massage it, but you have to remind them of the problems that you're going to be solving. We're going to be discussing evaluating the deal, which I kind of discussed a small amount, but we're going to go a little bit more into it, and what tools you might use after the one call close. So stay tuned, stay in your seat. We're going to be going over some phenomenal tips that you can be using for the one call close. Talk to you soon. I hear from real estate investors how much of a challenge it is finding motivated sellers. This is happening all over the country. Real estate investors not knowing where their next deal will come from. I can tell you on page 141 of my book, Right Flipping Now, I address how you can easily find deeply discounted off-market deals. The 98% of investors out there don't have a clue about this. You can easily duplicate this process within your own business today. Grab a copy of my book now at getmyflippingbook.com, and you can start finding deals for 50, 40, and 30 cents on the dollar without any competition. I have copies of my book available right now at getmyflippingbook.com, and you can have a step-by-step plan for making profits within the next 30 to 60 days. Go to getmyflippingbook.com. That's getmyflippingbook.com. It's www.getmyflippingbook.com. Welcome back, my friend. It is Jason Lucchese, and we are going to be going into overcoming any challenges, obstacles that you may be facing with our one call close. So I'm back again here with the CNO, Chief Ninja Officer, Mr. Michael Bredhauer. And you just heard not too long ago, we did a role play, which I hope was extremely beneficial for you, because it's something that a lot of people don't really do. And I'll tell you what, if you're going to be in real estate, you need to know how to sell. If you don't know how to sell, you need to be, listening to stuff like this from us, because we're out here in the trenches and we know what's working and what's not. So within this particular part, what I want to go over is, Mike, so let's discuss some of the objections that you've been hearing lately, and I'll, give my spin on how you could overcome and hop over the hurdle, or just completely kick down the door that's standing in front of you. Let's discuss that, Mike.
Right. So the first objection, or I don't call this one an objection so much, but it's the first obstacle you have to come across, is your seller has a price in mind. So Jason calls me and I say, sure. Before that one would be, they don't even have a price in mind. They want to know what your offer is right away. So Jason calls me and he says he'd like to buy it, and I say, sure, what's your offer?
Right. So the best thing to do when you're overcoming a specific challenge like that is they're not necessarily being hard, but they are curious. So they're fishing from you, and you don't have to grab their bait, because as soon as you grab their bait, you've lost. You've potentially lost the deal that could have netted you, 10 grand minimum. And now you're potentially going to make $1 or $2 grand. Either way, you're going to make money, but would you rather make 10, 15 grand or $1 or $2 grand? It could be the big difference there. So the way to overcome that is if Mike right off the bat was like, yeah, I'm interested in selling. What's your offer? I start going this route. I say, well, you know what? I have a particular number that I have in mind, but before I do that, I need to know a little bit about the property, and I owe it to you, because maybe you might be able to tell me something and my offer may change that may be in benefit of you. So at that point, what I typically do is have them kind of tell me about the property, and then that's how I'm able to get, what their struggles are and what I can do to help them and be a problem solver. Right, Mike?
Absolutely. Solving that problem is really what it's all about. And that kind of leads into the next one. What if there's no photos?
Oh, so you mean like on Zillow?
Yeah. So, there's no photos on Zillow and I just said, what's your offer? And how would you know?
Right. And that's where it's so important. You heard in the role play from Mike and I asked him to kind of like walk me through the property. And most people, what would you say, like 8 out of 10 are actually going to walk you through it?
Oh, yeah.
You have like a mental visual.
Yeah, they have no problem doing that. If they want to sell it, they'll tell you.
Yeah, they will. And most people are that, say that they are interested, or like Mike said there, like that he possibly was interested. The possible people I consider to be yeses. They're very interested in selling. They just don't want you to know it, because most of us, we have a guard up when it comes to people wanting to sell us stuff. So we get that guard up right off the bat. So what I would do is I would want them to walk me through the property, and they love talking about themselves. It's just human nature. We love talking about ourselves. So that's another challenge.
Absolutely.
that we've seen, and it's quite easy to overcome it. You just have to be confident in the way that you approach it. If you are kind of shaky on the phone, it means you're probably not quite ready. But here's the thing, just all you need to do is the role-playing session that Mike and I just did there. Would you say that was hard, Mike, or would you say it was easy?
It was easy, I mean, I'm talking to somebody I know, so it's a little bit uncomfortable, but not too uncomfortable.
Yeah, and the other thing too, to make it a little bit more of a challenge to you, is I could have had Mike go in the other room, and I actually could have called him on the phone and make it feel a lot more real. And you could do that too with some, a friend or a colleague or whomever it may be, to help you kind of overcome these challenges of making these calls, because once you start to get in a habit of it, it becomes very easy at that point. Right, Mike?
Yeah. And actually, another good way to help yourself is to record your call. So if you record it and then, if you didn't get the sale, don't be discouraged. You still got some out of it. Go back, listen to the recording, kind of listen to what how you came across their objections and how you came across to them. How would you do it differently? Think about that. Maybe say it out loud, make it real, say it out loud like you did do it differently, and then make the next call.
Yeah, absolutely. So what are some other objections that we're starting to see here?
So if a seller, you call them and they say, yeah, I'll take 50,000 right off the bat, they give you a number, and the price of the property in your estimation is probably half that.
Yeah. Yeah. I first of all, if they're being somewhat rude or disrespectful, or they're being right to the point with you at that point, I would just ask them how they arrived at that price.
Right. And I would say it's what I owe on the mortgage. Sometimes if they just want to pay it off and get rid of it, or, hey, like I came across recently, I got other projects I want to do, or sometimes it's just, that's how much they want. And that's, they looked on Zillow and that's the number they got.
Yeah. And the easiest way is to have them explain how they came up with that number. And if it doesn't add up, just be like, well, I'm still really interested in the property, but I'll tell you, we're going to be off on the numbers. So I'm not sure if you would like to proceed forward or not, but I would love to hear about the property and see, if we could potentially come up, and meet halfway with what I have in mind, because I could buy this property from you. It'll be completely off your hands and you're not going to have to worry about it anymore.
Right. And you know what, when you say it like that, you disarmed them very, easily. You're not trying to disarm, you just did by talking to them, and they're going to be like, sure, what do you want to know?
Yeah. No. And then again, they love talking about themselves. So it becomes a very easy transition at that point to have them talk about themselves.
Right. And so, that kind of leads into the next one, is like, once you get to that point, evaluating the deal on the fly. Yeah,
absolutely. And, doing that, evaluating the deal, for those of you that don't have access to the MLS, which we discussed, I believe in the previous episode. So if you haven't listened to that one, I highly recommend it. Encourage you to do it, because we talk about, having a virtual business and, the teammates that you need to have on your team. One of them is being a real estate agent. Or again, if you need to be doing that yourself, get the license. It's not a big deal. It's not a challenging test as long as you study for it. It should be easy. But think about this. If you have access to the MLS, you can go right on to the MLS and you could comp out the property as you're talking to that person. Multitasking when talking to these people is not a challenge at all. If you need to use Zillow, that's completely fine too. As long as you're getting like in the general ballpark of what they want, that's going to be a great thing there too for you. And the other thing too is if you need a lead sheet when you're taking these calls, or if you're wanting to just be really good with making sure that your numbers add up, send us an email. We'll be more than happy to send you a copy of that. It's support@jasonluchese.com, and I'll spell that for you. So it's support@JasonLuchesi.com, and just put in the subject of the email that you're sending off lead sheet, and we'll be happy to send that off to you. The other thing is making sure that you have a really good maximum allowable offer calculator. Mike, let's discuss that, like the importance of having a maximum allowable offer calculator handy.
Yeah, it used to be I would have to write on paper with a pen, and sometimes I didn't always have the paper with me, so I was scrambling for pen and paper. I didn't always have a pen with me, and the paper got filled up really quickly with the amount of offers I was trying to put together.
Yep.
So having the ML calculator where I could just open it up, put the numbers in really quick. I didn't have to do the math because it did it for me. And then really quickly, I could be on the phone right there typing in that stuff while I'm talking to them, and then get a good number in my mind right then and there on the phone. So if they're persistent about wanting to know a number right now, I can give them the best estimation that I can give them, that I will offer them.
Yeah. And that's key is having the numbers, ready. And then you're able to fire them off, because we've put together, Mike's put together a really phenomenal MAO calculator to where it spits out the number that you need to be offering. And typically it depends on market, but I was able to work with Mike to where we could construct, a really good sheet that you enter in the numbers and then it spits you out what you need to make the offer on. And what we have it at is between, I believe it's 65
to 80%.
To 80%. And that is of the after repair value, correct?
Yeah, that goes on the ARV. So that's the number, whatever number it shows in that box. I don't have to do any in the head math. It's just, hey, here's a number.
Yeah, and I highly encourage you to do that. So the numbers, again, it differs from market to market. We're here in Indy, we're going to be between 65 to 70% of the after repair value. Some markets that might be a little bit more competitive, like some parts of Phoenix, some parts of Nevada or
Boston,
California, or Florida.
Yeah.
You're going to have certain parts that are going to be a little bit more competitive, and you need to be at maybe like an 80%, and you're still going to make money just because the spreads are a little bit different in other markets. But when we do this though, it's, say for instance, at 65% ARV, we also have to minus off closing costs, any holding costs, our profit that we want to make. Any other fees that are associated with us doing the transaction have to be in there. And that's how we arrive at our maximum allowable offer. So that's something too that I would highly encourage you to start using. Those numbers, anywhere between 65 to 80% is going to be your after repair value numbers that you could come in at and make offers. So that's going to help you out dramatically. So coming up on the next part here, which we're going to discuss with you, I'm super excited. We're going to be going into don't pitch benefits, why that's not something that you want to do, and could also cause you to make a huge $10,000, $15,000 mistake. You don't want to make that mistake. And then we're also going to be doing what to do next. And also we're going to follow it up with how to create a proper follow-up for the leads that didn't convert right away from the 1-call close. You may have to do a 2-call close. We're going to be discussing that soon. So sit tight, hang in there. We're going to be covering this stuff here very shortly. Are you facing a roadblock with getting started in real estate? This is an obstacle a lot of brand new investors face. Building a rock solid foundation is key to building your investing empire. I can tell you on page 95 of my book, Right Flipping Now, I address how you can build a lasting foundation that won't topple over when you're on the third floor. Do not avoid laying the proper foundation for your business. I've made this drop dead simple for you to just rip off and use within your own real estate investing business. Grab a copy of my book now at getmyflippingbook.com, and you can have the confidence you need to find and flip deals consistently month after month. I have copies of my book available at getmyflippingbook.com, and you can have a step-by-step proven plan for making profits on your very first deal, or maybe that second deal, closing within the next 30 to 60 days. Go to getmyflippingbook.com. Getmyflippingbook.com. Hey there, it's Jason Lucchese. Welcome back. And this is where we're going to be discussing, why we don't pitch benefits. A good quote from good old Zig Ziglar: you can get everything you want in life if you help others get what they want in life. And that's so absolutely true. Again, we're not pitching benefits to these folks that we're wanting to buy their houses from. We're wanting to pitch exactly how we're going to solve their problems. So do you want to close up to $10,000 in transactions every month? Be a problem solver. Ask questions. Your job is to solve their problems, not sell yourself. Because I'll tell you this, they're going to get bored so quickly if all you're doing on the phone is talking about yourself. The conversation should be this. I call it the 90-10. 90% of the time you're listening. 10% of the time you're going to be asking questions. And you're just going to be fielding the responses from there. So let's discuss this, Mike. If a price is agreed upon, these are some of the things that we do. We want to make sure we get the email address and send the purchase agreement right away, which I did right there on that role playing.
Right. You got all the information right away. So if you got disconnected or you get a better number, you got it.
Yeah, absolutely. And some of the things we'll talk about in future episodes is really kind of the structuring process and learning how to do the earnest money deposit in different ways. We don't always put like, hey, it's going to be there in 3 business days. Sometimes we may put it on the back end to where it's in the contract and it states that the earnest money deposit shall be delivered 3 business days prior to set closing date. We may put things in there like that too. And in this agreement, we want to make sure your contract will protect you as an investor. Have your attorney look it over to make sure it's legal. For those of you that are real estate agents out there, this is also important because you're going to have to disclose that you are a professional real estate agent in there so that they can't claim that you ever took advantage of them. Again, it's just disclosing, not a big deal. The next part, let's just say couldn't get to an agreement.
Yeah.
Let's talk about that.
You can't let it discourage you because it's going to happen. You're going to talk to a lot of people that you're not going to agree with. So Jason calls me and I'm just like, I really need the 70,000. How is he supposed to come back? The deal, we couldn't come to a price. He knows that I want 70 grand. He knows I have some problems. He knows that he could solve them, but I just, I'm not budging. So how does he, overcome that challenge?
Yeah. And that's where it goes up into the follow-up of this particular process.
Right. Yeah. You definitely want to have some sort of follow-up sequence in place. So we've said it before in past episodes. There's CRMs that we use. The one we use is ProsperWorks. You pay for it. You can get a 14-day free trial. Not going to get into it, but I recommend checking it out. Or HubSpot, which is free. But as soon as you get that buyer on the phone, put that lead information into your CRM and make notes as you're on the phone with them. Start making notes. If you can't come to an agreed price, you need to set a follow-up. Immediately, you need to say, okay, great. All right, now I know I have to follow up this person. So if they're like, all right, you know what? I'll tell you what, you can send them the contract if you want. It doesn't have to be signed, just, so they can review it. Say, how about I'll send this to you. It's going to have my offer on it. It'll be good for 3 business days. And then follow up with them after that, or at that 3 business day, right before that contract expires. Say, I'll follow up with you right, when the contract's, the expiration date, but I'll send it to you right now so you can look at it. Gives them something tangible. Follow up with them. So automatically you got that 3-day follow-up process. And that comes right after the contract. Now, after that 3 days, you call them back and let's just say, worst case scenario, you still can't agree on a price. That doesn't mean it's a dead lead. You put it into your CRM as a 30-day follow-up. And then again, as a 1 year or a 6 months follow-up. I like to do the 3-day, the 30-day, the 6 month, and the 1 year. Those are, I find, to be a significant amount.
Yeah. And the other thing too is, not to budge in here, but it typically, they say a lot of people that have been in sales for decades say it takes about 8 to 10 touches before somebody may want to like trust you and, take your offer. So don't get discouraged if you don't get it on the one call close, like Mike said, because sometimes it may take a few more, but we're seeing that, the more times that we are talking to people, the more we're seeing the one call close get accepted. It's not going to get accepted every single time. And if somebody is telling you that it is, I'm guaranteeing that they're lying to you, because that's not going to be the case every single time where you're getting that accepted on every single time. But being armed and ready and able to know exactly what to do so you can get one call closes, this is exactly what you should be doing here. So like Mike said, make sure you have that drip campaign ready, willing, and able. We've discussed some stuff in the past with using MailChimp, so I highly recommend you talk to your partners, or maybe you're by yourself, and get in there and check out MailChimp for yourself. But yeah,
absolutely. And you know what? When we say the one call close, it doesn't mean the first call, but you close them in one call. So it might be the third or fourth call, or like Jason said, 8th call. Sometimes it takes 8 touches, but you're going to close them on the one call. You're going to get them on the phone. You're going to solve their problem. You're going to have a signed contract sent to them, and you're going to close them on saying, okay, I'm going to solve your problems. They're going to be happy about it, and you're going to move forward.
Yeah, absolutely. And like we've discussed on this particular episode, we've discussed the challenges of what it really kind of you face on these types of calls. You really just need to get out there and start making these calls like we've been saying. You heard the role play that Mike and I did. If you don't have access to the MLS, you can use Zillow. If there's no pictures, there's several different things that you can do to kind of have them walk you through it. We went over that. We took, really into consideration how you can make more money, like a substantial amount more compared to if you don't ask questions. So again, you want to get out of the habit of pitching benefits and become a problem solver. So again, that comes down to really being a person that listens. So the whole 90-10, 90% of the time you're going to listen to their problems, 10% of the time you're going to ask more questions. So make sure you're doing that. We have the drip campaign to make sure that if they don't say yes right away, that you're going to be a follow-up machine, and you're going to follow up with them all the time. And yes, if you need examples of what we're doing as far as like for drip campaigns, what we're saying on the calls, if you would like to get access to that information, like if you want to hear how some of the actual live calls are doing, not just the role playing, that's fine too. We have scripts available that we can get to you. So that's something that we could do. I want to say thank you for listening to this episode of the No Flipping Excuses show. If you liked this particular episode, if you're just a fan of the show, make sure you subscribe, you rate us, and leave a comment. It's so important. It gives us that power, that energy to do more of these episodes for you so that you can be the ultimate real estate investor that just is living the life on your own terms. So make sure you do that. If you would like to join us on our next free web class, that is at getmyflippingtraining.com.
Yep, getmyflippingtraining.com. You go check it out, get your free web class training, lots of good content, and it's all free, so why not take advantage?
Yep, absolutely. Again, that's getmyflippingtraining.com. Again, I'm going to dive really deep into some really cool stuff on there for finding direct deals, for finding more cash buyers. It's phenomenal information. I highly encourage you to go check it out. Other than that, thanks for being here with us. I really appreciate you. Again, there are no flipping excuses. Go out there, make it happen. You have the power to be absolutely phenomenal. You have the power to be great. Go out there and do it. Get off the hamster wheel, my friend, and you will be a freaking success. Have a great day. I will talk to you on the next episode.
Thanks for listening. For show notes and links to anything discussed on today's program, visit noflippingexcuses.com. If you'd like to call the show, dial 317-900-1307, 24/7. Leave a message with your first name and where you're calling from, and include your question, comment, or concern. Who knows? You might end up on the air with Jason Lucchese. If you like the show, be sure to subscribe on iTunes or Stitcher. The links are posted at noflippingexcuses.com. Remember, you can close more deals now, make your own rules, and design and live an amazing life without having some jerk-off boss tell you what to do. Share noflippingexcuses.com with like-minded people you know who are ready for badassery, crushing it in real estate, and enjoying freedom to whatever you like, whenever you like it.